We all have some sort of core operating system within us, whether we designed it deliberately or it formed over time within us without our explicit consent. Because of this, different people rely on different operating systems to help them confront, absorb, and move through failure. Investor and author Tim Ferriss points to the ancient wisdom of Stoicism as his operating system. Stoicism, to Tim, is what informs how he reacts or deliberately doesn't react to the unfolding events of his calling journey. For many people, some sort of faith framework is the core operating system that they leverage when failure strikes. Cupcake entrepreneur Gigi Butler found herself with only $33 in her checking account on the day she opened her first cupcake shop. A large stack of unpaid bills sat ominously on her desk. In this moment of teetering failure flirtation, Gigi invoked her deep faith in God and chose to rely on his guidance as she navigated her off-road entrepreneurial path. Ultimately, through many small miracles, Gigi dug out of that initial hole and grew her empire to stretch to over 100 locations across 24 states. By 2013, her company Gigi's Cupcakes reported over $43 million in annual sales. Gigi credits her decision to rely on her operating system of Christian faith as a key element that enabled her success. Punk rock triathlete, author, and motivational speaker John Joseph has an operating system that relies on his Hare Krishna faith in times of failure and distress. It is his reliance on the transcendent precepts of his faith that he credits for having rescued him from drug addiction, street violence, crime, homelessness, and prison. In the song Prayer by his band Blood Clot, John calls out those who don't believe and stands by his operating system by celebrating how he gets on his knees and prays when shit hits the fan. Retired Navy SEAL, triathlete, and public speaker David Goggins also points to the convictions of his spirituality as a key impetus that helped him rise out of the failure of obesity and the effect his father's sins of abuse had on him. On the Rich Roll podcast, Goggins explained that he always had this voice in his head, his internal spirit voice, urging him to utilize his free will to make choices that would maximize his impact in the world. Goggins recognized this voice as a divine one. His voice buoyed his strength and aided him in redirecting his path out of a backdrop of poverty, racism, abuse, and obesity. Goggins was pulled by the divinity of purpose into the Think 2 North Star of his calling journey. Goggins would imagine what his life might look like had he made easier, different decisions and never struggled out of obesity, underachievement, and the painful emotional skin of his upbringing. He would then visualize arriving at the pearly gates and God laying before him a storyboard of what his life could have been had he chosen the hard way. What his life could have been if he had made difficult decisions that ultimately would inspire, bless, and catalyze change in others. Goggins decided he wanted to live that story forthrightly so that God would never have to shame him with a highlight reel of what could have been. His story of maximizing his potential can be found in his best-selling memoir, Can't Hurt Me. Stephen Pressfield describes the power of failure as resistance, with a capital R, in his book, The War of Art. He contends that the antidote to the power of such resistance or such failure is altogether otherworldly, intangible, and divine. He characterizes our failures and the resistance with which they manifest as fire-breathing dragons, or griffins of the soul. These griffins, he contends, must be fought and outwitted for us to access the treasures that lie within the full potential of our untapped calling journey. This is how we release what Stephen calls the maiden, who is God's plan and destiny for ourselves and the answer to why we were put on the planet. As you think about what attributes make up your core operating system, consider exploring how faith might fit in. Remember that we are more than just the meat suits that encase us. Remember that what is unseen is just as real as what is seen, even though it lives in incomprehensible mystery. Remember those who credit the antidote to failure as the ethereal power of the divine. Don't leave faith out of your failure management plan.